When did you finally realize that Lloyd Howell had to resign? I would say, Mike, in this 37 minutes almost, we've outlined a number of exit ramps that any reasonable person would take. Right? It could be the FBI investigation, but that's clearly the last consideration. It could be the strip clubs, the private equity stuff. It could be the collusion ruling. It could be, by the way, interestingly enough, the second parallel ruling that we unearthed exclusively, the two of us, in which it was clear that JC Tretter was also the protagonist in this other decision that was made to not talk about a case the NFLPA lost because of stuff JC Tretter said on a podcast to Ross Tucker about running backs faking injuries. The NFL never talked about it. The NFLPA never talked about it. Everybody on both sides, when we were reporting this, tried to make it seem like, in fact, of course, the NFL had nothing on the NFLPA. That was the NFLPA's actual statement.
Ridiculous. This has always been ridiculous, even though we lost.
Well, they didn't say even though we lost. We only knew that for sure because we got the document. Again, all things going back to the document. And so now they were revealed to not be telling the truth about what happened there. A case which, and again, why is this Veep? It's because JC Tretter was the protagonist. He was the actual defendant in that arbitration. And so at what point in all of this, and again, there's more, there is yet more that I don't even have time to mention right now that are in all of the reporting. Was it the fact that when you realized after electing JC Tretter that he was complicit as a CFO of Booz Allen Hamilton, a giant consulting firm, which was found to be, forced to pay the largest financial fraud settlement in known U.S. history, and you were the guy that the whistleblower came to, Lloyd Howell, and you said nothing? Was it that point that you realized, JC, that you made a bad choice? Because there were a series of exit ramps, and he took none of them. And so the whole idea of, you know what, I didn't want this guy. I didn't vote for him. Let's just grant the suspension of disbelief for that for a second here. I don't even care about that. Let's just leave that to the side, although I have many things to say about that. Spoiler alert to come. I merely want to know, when did you realize that Lloyd had to go? And why did you wait until he resigned to do anything resembling separating yourself from this guy? Feels like a reasonable question.
Reasonable question that he would never give a reasonable or plausible answer to. And I think it's a practical matter. And I do want to give Don Van Natten and Kalen Kaler specific credit for this, because plenty of people think that my return to Pablo Torre finds out and the document we unearthed, the second hidden collusion grievance, that was not collusion, but this was the fake injury grievance, but the second hidden grievance ruling, that was the thing that caused Lloyd Howell to go. I think knowing that the strip club expense report was coming is the thing that caused him to walk before that dropped.
The dominoes, man. Again, you can only see it as that meme of like, you tipped over one thing. And again, the first thing is Jordan Hudson. But you count the steps, and you're right. Like I've used this metaphor in trying to wrap my head around this because I fully want to credit the strip club stuff as well as I did before. But again, here, you know that carnival game where there are like a bunch of coins that you drop in and there's this platform that moves in and out and you sort of hope for the coin to be the coin to tip over everything, right? It's the accumulation of coins.
And all those coins are just kind of hanging on the edge and they won't fall.
And you're yelling at your friend on the phone. Why aren't the coins falling? Hypothetically, why are they still in power? And then it takes that last coin to get the attention of everybody. Like, oh, this seems bad. This seems unspinnable. This seems like a headline we can't suppress or hide in legalese. And so, yeah, that felt like the last straw. And is it on some level, again, depressing that the unearthing of a second ruling was not enough of a coin to hit the jackpot, so to speak? Of course, but I also understand why the strip club stuff was. And it was, again, man, it's the accumulation of everything. And that was, it's like, come on, what are we? It's a clown show, man. The whole thing of like, I am plausibly, speaking now as Lloyd or JC, I am plausibly someone who just wanted the best for this organization, but the power plant melted down. I'm like, you could say that if you haven't been paying attention, if your audience hasn't been paying attention, right? If Craig Jones has been paying attention, if the people who you represent, the players, by the way, the retired players, Sam Acho, former EC committee member who you wrote about, JJ Watt, Benjamin Watson, Chris Long, right? On and on and on. These guys started to realize, Booger McFarland, these guys who were actually media fluent enough to see what's happening here, they saw it before JC did. And JC was counting on nobody seeing it. Lloyd was counting on nobody seeing it. And Mike, I can't help but return to, and maybe now this is the through line truly, as I try to identify what's the common thread here. I return to Scooby-Doo. And they would have gotten away with it if not for those meddling kids. And thanks to artificial intelligence, I now know that, yes, we are both cartoon dogs after all.
Yes. Yes. I don't know who's Scooby and who's Scrappy, but you have the ears. My ears haven't grown in yet, so I guess I'm Scrappy.
Scrappy-Doo is an honored character that we also need to respect as an institution.
Yes.
Correct.
It's funny because usually the sitcom introduces the cute young kid as the kids who are the nucleus of the cast age beyond the point of cuteness. I'd love to have been privy to the internal conversations at the production company as to why they needed to introduce a younger, cuter version of a dog that never ages.
I think the real truth here is that we, the two of us, like those producers, like those animators, we're all probably actually just Shaggy. We're getting stoned in a van and making calls, and wherever this thing goes, it goes.
What if we take Scooby-Doo and shrink him?
What if I told you there could be another do? Like, well, now you have my attention.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.